everyone, welcome back to another episode of MT and Me. I'm Marcos.
I'm Andy.
And this week we've got one movie, 3 shows.
Want to keep you busy just in case that writer's strike.
Yeah, it's crazy, right? Like, the whole thing popped up. I hope they come to an agreement soon.
I do too.
Because that's going to mess a lot of people up.
We want to keep giving you
reviews.
reviews. The writer's strike.
What else are we going to do?
We might have to take a vacation.
Okay. But anyways, we got Sweet Tooth, Citadel, Love and Death, and our movie this week is Sisu.
Sisu.
So, if you know any Chuck Norris jokes, let us know because it's pretty much related to this whole movie. The first show we're bringing to you this week is Sweet Tooth.
Nice, back for season 2.
Season 2. Any thoughts on the Sweet Tooth season 2?
I think it's. I just want to say it's. You got this good story about Gus, who is part human, part deer, I guess. Who right now is being hunted pretty much for his blood in this post-apocalyptic world, meeting other hybrids to help him along the way. And I don't know, I really like this season so far because you've got a good group of hybrids that we really didn't see in season 1. They were introduced at the end of season 1 a little bit. I think we just saw them, like glimpses of them. But now in the first couple episodes of season 2, they become kind of the major playing characters. So it's
They introduce them a little bit. You get to know a few characters. The little girl with the pig nose. I forget her name off the top of my head right now, but she's got a few parts in the first season.
Can't forget Bobby.
Bobby. Oh yeah, Bobby. Yeah, I am Bobby. Yeah, it's like this is the new group for sure. The first season did a really good job of setting up this story. It was very intense, and this season I finished the whole thing. I don't think you did. You right?
Not yet.
But the second season, they lighten it up a little bit. There's a few jokes that are kind of silly, but I think it's appropriate for the show. It really lends itself to being more of a family show now,
right?
Versus I think the first season was kind of dark in some areas.
Well, if you know the history of Sweet Tooth of itself, actually is based on a comic book, and the comic book was really dark. So I do like that they've kind of taken this darker material. Netflix has taken this darker material, and they have given this more family-friendly spin. I do like that. Yeah,
so I definitely noticed that. What's the main character's name again? I forgot.
Gus.
Yes.
And he is played by Christian Convery, who I think is a really good young actor. I hope that he continues to do a good job. I know we also recently saw him in Cocaine Bear. So
yeah. Well, I was kind of not worried, but I was just thinking that there was a long gap between the first season and the second season. These kids, I don't know. I think they might have recorded a lot of this before they aged up a little bit because
they did. My understanding is they actually filmed season 1 and season 2 together.
Oh, okay.
And then it's also been renewed for season 3. So they filmed season 3 a little bit later, but they tried to keep the kids relatively the same age.
Right. So, because I was like, wow, this is coming out with the second season, but it's been a long time.
I also really like the character called Big Man, who helped Sweet Tooth in this movie, played by Nanso Anozie. And I really like him as an actor. And strangely enough, he just popped up on Ted Lasso now. He plays Sam's dad on Ted Lasso.
I haven't caught up that far into Ted Lasso.
You got to get there. So now he's Sweet Tooth, he's Ted Lasso. But I like, you can really see his versality as an actor in both of these different roles.
I think it was in Game of Thrones too, if I remember right.
He may have been in one of the minor roles.
Yeah, he was guarding like that big vault or whatever, and they lock him in it at some point.
Should have caught that one. I missed it.
I just remember seeing him before in that. But yeah, I think it did a great job in season 2. I think this whole series has been so far great. So we'll see what happens in the third season. They introduced a new bad guy at the end of the second season. So,
well, I know that we were talking too about whether or not we thought this was kind of a family friendly. I know that we both mentioned that obviously Netflix has made it more family friendly than the comic book. But would you recommend this for families or?
I would recommend the second season. Again, we've said, but about the first season. But yeah, once you get to the second season, I think there's a lot of just bright, colorful scenes. The jokes are very kid friendly. The violence is kind of toned down in the second season. There is still a lot of violence. There's a lot of battles happening.
And there is some profanity, but I agree with you. I think I like it, and I would really recommend it, especially for maybe ages 10 and up. 10 and up.
Right. Yeah. 10 and up for sure. Yeah.
So we'll probably get our family-friendly rating for this one. But also I like James Brolin is the narrator for this. It's
Oh,
kind
yeah,
of kind of
uh-huh.
cool to hear his voice on there every once in a while. So, but overall, what would you rate it as a show?
I would probably give this probably maybe I could probably a 7 out of 10.
I really like it. I know this is gonna sound weird, so I'm giving it an 8. So we're pretty close though.
Yeah, yeah.
And
I can easily see giving it an 8, but
I'm not usually drawn to too many shows that I think are like this, but for whatever reason, it's just the kids, the actors, the where they're going this season with introducing more of these these creatures that you're kind of rooting for and cheering for. I think it's a good watch.
yeah, definitely. Yeah, there's some weird things that happen towards the end of the second season. I was kind of like, that doesn't make a whole lot of sense, and it's kind of weird. So that's probably why I brought mine down from probably an 8, because I would probably give it an 8. I would give the first season 8 or a 9, really.
Yeah,
The first season was that well, but
I agree.
second season, yeah. But yeah, check it out. It's on Netflix.
Sweet
And
too.
let us know if you like it.
And our second show this week is Citadel on Amazon. It's got Richard Madden, who we all know, who played Robb Stark on Game of Thrones, who I must still admit was still one of my favorite Game of Thrones characters.
Yeah.
Rest in peace, Robb Stark.
Yeah, Robb Stark.
And then you've got Priyanka Chopra Jonas, and they play two spies on a mission. Somehow have their memories erased, and they begin these new lives, and then 8 years later, they're thrust back together to save the world. I mean, in a nutshell, that's it, right?
Right. Yeah. The show opens up, and I was really, I left a bad taste in my mouth the opening of the show, because it kind of opens up like a James Bond show, but not one of the good James Bonds, one of the Pierce Brosnan James Bonds, where you're just like, what is this silly banter? They open up with this upside down vertical scene, and they flip the camera really slow. So I was like, what is all this unnecessary like camera and dialogue?
Are you saying that Pierce was the worst James Bond? I don't know if he was the worst one.
Oh, I hated the Pierce Brosnan like era. But you know, after the initial like Bourne like identity like fighting and super spy and this, you know, the silly banter between the two characters, it turns into like a good spy show. Like I the first 2 episodes have kind of drawn me in. I'm starting to enjoy it. They do have a couple of things in there where they go back to this, where it's lighthearted and they tell these silly jokes, and it kind of breaks it for me a little bit, because I want it to be more serious. I want it to be more aggressive. But yeah,
and there are only 2 episodes out right now, so I agree with you. I kind of hope that it's going to pick up a little bit more. I mean, for me, the problem was not even that. For me, the problem was the jumping. Not only did we jump through time, like back to the past and 8 years forward, but then we jumped location to location. I mean, we were all of a sudden on the screen it says Spain, and then on the screen it says Virginia, London, Oregon, Mexico. I mean, I was like, where are we now?
What Marvel movie was that? Was that Age of Ultron, where they had in big block letters or whatever?
They were, maybe, I don't know. And that's
a marquee for everything.
Kind of how this was,
yeah. So, and then the 8 years didn't make sense to me, because the daughter that they cast for the show, she seems like she's 10. So I'm like, how did he go from having amnesia to then finding a wife and then having a child, and she looks like she's 10 years old, and when the time I'm going to give it is 8 years. So that kind of threw me off a little bit.
But things I do like the whole idea, kind of what you said. We're putting this thing called Citadel, who is this agency that apparently no longer exists, versus this other evil agency called Manticore, which is kind of an interesting connection. I really like Stanley Tucci. I always think he's a great actor. He's in this. Leslie Manville's in this. She kind of plays the evil English ambassador.
Right. The Manticore leader.
And then I couldn't believe it. If you guys have ever seen the old movie Cutting Edge, Maura Kelly pops up in this movie as Stanley Tucci's ex-wife. She's got a role in helping them in this, and I was really surprised to see her. I know you were like Cutting Edge, but it was a good movie.
Yeah.
Tope it.
Okay. It's a love genre pick, which is like on my low end of things to watch.
But and also the money that's been thrown into Citadel. I'm hoping too that it's going to mean that we're going to see some great sequences coming up. This is the second most expensive series ever made, at $50 million an episode.
Seriously, it doesn't look that expensive.
Only behind the new Lord of the Rings series.
No way.
Yes, I was shocked, and I agree with you. The first 2 episodes, I was kind of like,
it seemed kind of standard.
I didn't really see that.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I mean, that the special effects seemed kind of average. I mean, nothing was crazy.
So hopefully that means we're going to see some big scenes play out, because I know that in Lord of the Rings there were some big scenes that came in a couple episodes. So maybe Citadel is going to be the same way.
Yeah, I like to see where they're going to take the show, because I always like to sit there and be like, all right, he's the bad guy. They're going to do this. They're going to do that. And so far they've kind of shaken it up a little bit. So we'll see what they do with the characters. I'm interested to find out what happens. I would definitely
Right.
watch.
And
Continue watching this.
I don't think we mentioned it is by the Russo brothers,
Mm-hmm.
who gave us a lot of the Marvel movies, the Captain America, and a lot of those things that we've seen. So yeah. So I mean, right now I agree with you. It's kind of a slow start, but my hopes are high. I still have high hopes for it.
Yeah, I hope they continue to stay gritty and dark, and not so silly with everything that's happening. So
Not so Pierce Brosnan.
no, it's no Pierce Brosnan James Bond. No.
More of a Daniel Craig James Bond, right?
Yeah. And no PB JB off.
There you go.
Anyway,
so rating wise, what do you think you'd give this one?
I probably give this one a 7 again. So
I think I'm actually with you. I'm at a 7 myself, and I think that's because right now I'm at a 7. Kind of hope maybe it'll go the other way, but I think it could go either way right now.
Right. So. Yeah. So we'll see. Yeah, it hasn't drawn me in where it just grabs me, but it is interesting. So it's definitely better than just what Ghosted was last week. So, but it's definitely better than that. But we'll see what they do.
So if you're interested, check it out. It's on Amazon.
And the third show we're reviewing this week is Love and Death on HBO Max.
Or is it just Max?
Yeah. HBO Go.
Yeah,
HBO. Yeah, I just saw the announcement. You're just cutting everything out.
Rebranding again.
It's rebranding again for the nth time. It's got Elizabeth Olsen as the main character in the show. It's about a housewife that has an affair with another person in the church that she belongs to. And I didn't know this until right after watching the first few episodes that are out now, that it is based on a true story. So,
and apparently I didn't know this either, but apparently this is the second time a movie has been made about the life of Candy Montgomery. I guess the first movie, which I never saw, starred Jessica Biel. So if anyone out there saw that, you'll have to leave us your thoughts on that one, or if you've seen both of them, which one you think is better.
Yeah.
But I think this is hard material again to watch.
It is, yeah.
But I think what keeps me in it really is Elizabeth Olsen and Jesse Plemons, who is the man that she's kind of having this relationship with. And for whatever reason, I don't know, strangely, I find myself rooting for them.
Yeah, you do. In a way, right? Because, it delves heavily into marriages.
Yeah.
And how there can sometimes be, holes in marriages. So people find different ways of filling these holes. But it's like watching a train wreck. Like, bad things are coming, but you kind of don't take your eyes off of it. You're just kind of slowly just waiting for this burn to happen or this explosion to happen. Right. So it's very intense. But yeah.
And although we haven't gotten there, basically the story is not a spoiler because this is a true story. It's out there in the news. But Candy Montgomery, this real life character, apparently takes an axe and kills the person that she's having the affair with and his wife. Mm-hmm. And that's the premise of this entire movie. So
right, yeah, I think they're going to probably go into the trial of it probably in later episodes because they show some flash forwards, or maybe it was a preview that I saw.
Could be
where they kind of show her she has a different haircut and she's surrounded by reporters and whatnot. So yeah, I think after this next episode they're going to start the manhunt because I think the preview, she's on the run on the run. But yeah, she's covered in blood and so
they do. It does have a great cast. You've got Patrick Fugit from Almost Famous. Of course, I already said Jesse Plemons. He pops up on everything. I think he's actually married to. Is he married to Kristen Dunst now?
Something like that. Yeah.
Then Lily Rabe from The American Horror Story. You've got Kristen Ritter from Jessica Jones. You've got Tom Pelphrey.
That's Kristen Ritter?
Yes, you've got Tom Pelphrey from Ozarks. You've got all these great character actors that are on this show. I didn't recognize Kristen Ritter at first too, but then I looked at her and I was like, who is that?
Is she playing the best friend?
Yes, she's her friend that she confides everything in. Yeah.
I didn't even. Yeah. Wow, they did a really good makeup job on her.
You did.
I completely forgot what she looks like. But what's crazy, another Netflix show that I like a lot is called Atypical. And I don't know if you've ever seen that. Have you ever seen Atypical?
I've seen parts of it. I haven't really known.
So the pastor that they replaced in the beginning of the show with that younger guy.
Yes.
He's the main character in Atypical. So I saw it and I was like, whoa, I love that guy. But he plays a completely different character.
I know you're talking about. I didn't realize that either when I saw him. That's interesting.
Yeah.
So, I think it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out. For me, it's a really interesting story because, again, it's not really a spoiler. Everybody knows because this horrific murder happened in Texas and Candy Montgomery is actually, she doesn't do any jail time. She gets off.
She doesn't?
No.
Wow.
She's found not guilty of this crime by reason of self-defense. and she walks. And it's really interesting is she not only does she walk away, but she moves to Georgia where she becomes a family therapist.
No way. Well, and
how would you like that? I'm going to see my family therapist today, who once upon a time was an axe murderer.
No way. Well, at the end of the last episode, that's been currently out. I thought it just started last week, but they had like 3 or 4 episodes.
I think they dropped 3 episodes at once.
Yeah. So yeah, I was like, I didn't expect to see one after the other, but at the end of that last episode, yeah, it shows the wife, the hurt wife with the axe in her hand,
right,
and she's about to attack Elizabeth Olsen's character. So yeah, we'll see what happens after that. Well, I mean, you know what happens after that. So.
I think for me, rating wise, like I said, it's really hard to watch. A lot of people won't like this, I know, but because of the performances in this, and because I think they're doing a really good job tackling it, and I've always been impressed with Elizabeth Olsen as an actress, I think I'd give it a 7.
I would probably give this a 7 as well. I almost wanted to give it an 8 because the performances are so good, except for I never really liked. I forget the name of the guy, the guy in the movie, the blonde hair. That's
Jesse Plemons.
Yeah, I never really liked him as an actor.
It's hard. It's really hard to take him as like a heartthrob. I mean, I'm looking at him and I'm like, all these women are attracted to this guy.
Yeah, I don't understand his character. I mean, I've never understood him in much anything else because he kind of plays the same person. And
you mean you never saw, what was it, The Life of Dog?
No, I've never seen The Life of Dog. But everything that I have seen him in, he's like the same person in everything he does. So I don't know. But anyway, but yeah, I'll give it a 7 as well with you. But yeah, it's on HBO.
Something different, and if you're looking for something that a limited series and something that obviously the performances in this, I would guess that some of these performances will also be nominated for Emmys.
Probably, yeah, I can definitely say that as well. Check it out. Hey, and the reason why you stuck around this far is to get our review on Sisu.
Sisu.
If you've not seen the trailer, check it out. If you've seen the movie, then you know exactly what we're talking about. This guy is the ultimate destruction machine.
John Wick.
John Wick, yeah. He's what a Chuck Norris movie would be if they made a Chuck Norris movie. You know, he's like, the one where Chuck Norris doesn't do push-up, he pushes the world down. It's like he's everything of all of that in this whole movie.
He's an ex-member of the Finnish army, and he's become this right after World War II, or towards near the end of World War II, he's become this solitary gold prospector. He strikes it rich. He's taking his money. He's taking his gold back. Of course, he gets his gold. I can't even talk anymore. His gold stolen by the Nazis, and then he gets his revenge and helps a few others along the way.
Yeah, this guy is unstoppable. He's sitting there fashioning these staples out of metal. He's self-stapling himself. But the funniest thing, I'll never forget this, and again in my entire life, seatbelt saves lives.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
If you've seen the movie, you know what I'm talking about, where he straps himself to this plane. I'm surprised he didn't hop on top of the plane and just ride it down, lasso at the front of the plane. He just took the whole thing down.
Seatbelts, and you may always want to have an axe, too.
You always want to have an axe. Or
what is it called? Not an axe.
A mining pick.
There you go, a pick. There you go.
Yeah, and a satchel that never breaks open. It's
my goodness. This guy is played by Jorma Tomila, and he plays the prospector. And the crazy thing is, he doesn't even talk until the last few scenes of the movie.
He has 2 lines in the whole movie, and they're classic. It
is. I like it though, and the way that I like it, because it's not. This is made by comes to us from Finland by a screenwriter, Jalmari Helander. He grew up in Helsinki, so he's a Finnish screenwriter director. So the movie is in Finnish and English, which is kind of interesting. But what I think is hysterical is the Germans and the Russians speak English, and the people of Finland actually speak Finnish.
Right. Yeah. Well, for the most part of the movie, it's all in English.
Yeah.
Except for a few pieces. I can't say much more about this movie other than go see it to believe it, because it's a ride from beginning to end. I was entertained the entire time.
The dog lives. I gotta tell you that. The whole time I was focused on this dog. I was like, this dog better make it. So
no John Wick's. But yeah, he's not technically good at fighting. He's just unrelenting. He's just like this beast that just comes at you full force, unstoppable.
Don't mess with his gold.
Yeah, don't mess with this gold. Yeah, he just takes on all the Nazis, just burning them all to the ground, blowing them up, cutting them in half. Yeah, it's awesome.
And it is, and it's a miracle he survives some of the things he survives. But I do like how this is also kind of a little bit of a Quentin Tarantino-esque, where it's separated into chapters,
Right.
and
Yeah.
it's very quick, and some of the things that happen are unbelievable. Quentin Tarantino would probably make this movie 5 hours long, but at least there was elements of it that made me think of some of his stuff.
Right.
So,
Yeah. And then, yeah, speaking of the length of the movie, it was a really short
Yeah.
film.
I think it was like 85 minutes.
Yeah.
so.
I was like, there's nothing left going on. So, but yeah, they cap it well, So
And we do have to talk about the whole idea behind the name Sisu, where it comes from.
Well, it's unexplainable according to the legend. But
I like that they put it on the screen, so we read it. We read that this word is untranslatable in any other language, and then like twice in the movie, someone had to say it.
Yeah.
Do you know what Sisu is? It can't be translated.
It can't be translated, but they do say like it's like a white fist or
Yes.
white knuckled, So, but what would you rate this movie, Andy?
It's a lot of fun. It's definitely not. It's definitely not one of the greatest movies I've ever seen, and there are a lot of things that are just like, how did that happen?
Yeah.
But just because I had so much fun watching it, I think I'm gonna give it a 6.
I'm gonna go 8.
Wow!
On this movie.
Wow! Okay.
I think this movie, because it's well made for what they're doing. Like the cinematography is great. I enjoyed the noises of the battles and what happened and the special effects. And the acting is very well done. Like like even though it's so far fetched, you kind of believe what's happening, or you don't believe what's happening. So, but yeah, I enjoyed it from beginning to end.
I agree, and even though my score is low, I would watch it again.
Yeah,
and I would recommend it to people that really like this type of music.
Yeah.
This type of movie.
Yeah,
so.
it's not a comedy, but you'll be laughing the entire time of how outrageous and awesome this movie is at the same time. So definitely check it out. Hey everyone, thanks for sticking with us to the end of the show. Like always, we greatly appreciate it. And yeah, if you're so inclined, check out our Facebook page. I'm going to put a link in below.
Awesome.
As well as, anything you want to say before we get out?
Yeah, just don't forget, 2 awesome dudes bringing you movie and TV reviews.
We're gonna sneak that in at some point in the show. We're gonna have to put a special link for we have to run a contest or something. We'll put a little link. When did Andy say his little catchphrase? But anyways, thank you guys, and we'll see you next time.
Later.
Bye bye.